This is the Keller Chronicles, Cook with Your Heart. Stories, lessons, and flavors from Chef Duane Keller, a chef who has spent 5 decades cooking for presidents, royalty, and people just like you.
Welcome to the Keller Chronicles.
Awesome, Duane. Great to be here, Chef. Thank you for having me.
Chef Victor Gielisse, legend in the culinary world, 2 decades with CIA. And please take a moment and tell us a little bit about your background. I know it's long and very successful. Thank you for helping so many people along the way. If you could just share a little bit of your story.
Yeah, absolutely, Duane. The reality is that life goes really quick. And if you turn the corner, I grew up in the Netherlands in the early 60s, mid 50s. Went to culinary school and actually had a more traditional apprenticeship, right? So I love to see what's happening in the US now, this emphasis on apprenticeships, right? So I think it's really important. It's not for everybody, but it is important. So after that, what they do is I spent time in Germany as a journeyman. Germany, Italy, Switzerland. You travel the world if you're fortunate enough and learn under the masters in the best houses possible that you can find, right? So you can refine and skill and hone your craft, and that is really what it's all about. And I've been so fortunate in my career, but my career spent mostly in the hotel and restaurant business. I come from a family of restaurateurs, my grandfather, my father. So I sort of grew up in this business and was fortunate to come to the US in 78. And because somebody saw something in me, right? And that is what this is all about. So I always look at it, what can I do to provide the team the spark so they can create the fire? That is really what is important to me.
Yes, sir. The CIA, when I returned back from Vancouver during, we were cooking in the World Expo, I headed down to Florida because a good friend of mine had been in Florida and said, if you come down to Florida, you're just going to blow up. And I went down there and I worked for Hawks K, and part of the Hawks K program was the CIA externship.
Yeah.
And so that was 1986 when I first got involved in CIA. You've been involved with the CIA, and the CIA is the Culinary Institute of America. Everybody sometimes hesitates and thinks it's the CIA from the government, but it's not. What a program you have up there is incredible. Can you tell us a little bit about the school?
Yeah, my journey began with the college, basically meeting Ferdinand Metz and Tim Ryan at a culinary competition in 1980 in Chicago. It wasn't called the NRA show yet. It was still the Chicago show. And that's where I met these 2 individuals, and the journey began. I was intrigued by their adventures on the Culinary Olympics. And that is how my involvement with the culinary began in the early 80s. I've been involved with the school since that period of time, actually. And but only full-time in 1997. I joined them full-time, and only recently, and I'm still involved with them, but I only recently stepped back from the full-time position to focus more on a more part-time position. But that college has so evolved into a food university today. I mean, if I look at when I joined the college in 97, was still predominantly a 2-year program with a baccalaureate program there, but it wasn't really predominant yet. And now they have master's programs They lead the industry in conferences and so forth. So anyone I talk to, really, I tell them, have a look at their website. It's not only their programs, but they have specializations, but also their professional development programs are really important. Not everybody is as fortunate potentially in this business as other people have been. So there is opportunity for them to broaden their horizons and go into a model of learning and then a certification program to the post chef. But obviously their enrollment is strong. I don't know if you have been to the Hyde Park campus at all. Duane, have you had a chance to go there?
Yes, it's beautiful, and how impressive.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing. And so they have a campus in Greystone in California. They have a campus in Singapore and a campus here in San Antonio, Texas. So they come across the country. They offer great degree programs and great professional development programs, besides doing the executive education in conferences and all sorts of things like that. So there's huge opportunity for us today, and we've come such a long way in our industry. So I think for any young individual that's interested in going to a culinary school, they should definitely check out the CIA and visit and find out what's the best route for them, right? So that is really important. Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote a letter to Chef Metz, I think in 2000, maybe 6 or 7. I had a neighbor that their daughter was very, very lot of energy, but really kind of getting into a little bit of trouble. So I hired her on as a assistant in the pastry shop, and she loved it. And I wrote a letter to Ferdinand Metz and got her into the CIA program. Her father was in the military, and she took the pastry course, and then went and took just the chef's course. And she was in New York City. I looked her up on LinkedIn here, and it looks like we lost her from culinary to a different field.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that was because of COVID, because COVID really impacted our industry so negatively, unless you're in golf or plexiglass or hand sanitizer. How did you see COVID before and during and after?
Yeah, a really challenging, chef, right? I think COVID did a real number on us, while at the same time in our industry, there are those individual operators, whether they are company or individual, that have done a great job in reinventing themselves, because overnight, basically, our business stopped. And basically, people lost their jobs, interruptions in all the interruptions that did for our business, really, really tough. And people initially, when they got over that shock, they also tried to identify what does this do for me as an individual in this business, right? And this business that we are doing, chef, is not easy. Culinary arts is a phenomenal craft. I love my craft. I love my trade. The years have gone way too fast, if you look back at it. But it does take a toll, right? It takes a toll on family and self, on the choices one makes along the line. And I think what COVID did is really allowed a lot of folks to reevaluate. One of the big challenges we have in one of my roles at the college while working under Dr. Tim Ryan and Mark Erickson was in advancement. And really in that role, you also have your alumni. And while we have in excess of 52,000 alumni from the CIA, to your point, a lot of us are not in in the business anymore. And why is that? Why do we have such attrition? Why do people move out? Most of them seek a career track higher up, which we as youngsters did as well, right? We moved to the craft, but you don't see those people that continue to stay on the line, being involved, developing their craft, because a lot is demanded from individuals. And if you step back and think to yourself, well, a young individual goes through a 4-year program at the CIA, they come out with a culinary management degree and then start their journey. The expectation of the employer is tremendous, right? The expectation is that he or she knows how to navigate in the kitchen, knows how to lead people, knows how to evaluate people. They look at that individual as a catalyst for guidance and inspiration and ideas, and potentially that individual's not quite ready for that, right? They still need that roadmap. And I always put a parallel to that in the journey to achieving CMC certification. Because when I started my career, I did my apprenticeship, then I became a commie, then I became a demi-chef de partie, then you become a chef de partie, and then hopefully you got a chef sorcier job or a chef garde-manger job, and that is how you learned your craft, and you continue to work. And the most important thing that I will say to individuals that want to pursue this is be sure what it is that you want and identify the houses that you are going to work for, the individual you're going to work with. Extrapolate as much knowledge as you can from that organization, from that individual. And then if that master is good, if that individual is good, they will tell you, you need to seek another opportunity somewhere else because I've told you everything that I know, right? And the skill set is one thing, chef, and you know that in your roles you have seen it, and it's really about how do you challenge these individuals into work that really matters, that really makes a difference, where they can really make an impact, right? And that can help them. And so there's a role today for mentors and mentees. And both are of the same importance. It's very tough. So I think we have much work to be done, and that's why I say in my, I live and breathe for the CIA. It's just such a phenomenal institution. The impact you make as a chef faculty member or as a chef on these young people goes on for years. I mean, there's, I cannot tell you the amount of times we are on our travels. I run into somebody that has been to the CIA and they come up to you and say, "Hey, chef, how are you doing?" You don't really know who these people are anymore, but they were part of that dynamic place where you try to make a difference for individuals so they can have a good career. And that interruption with COVID was basically a wake-up call for our industry too. What do we give our young people? What does that career track look like, right? Give them, really provide work for them, but that is manageable. So there's a real track for them that they see, this is how I can navigate to get to the future next step, right? And that is not for everybody. And I know you have gone through your careers with your staff and all that, and I've seen it in my hotel track and our restaurants we had here in Dallas. It's tough. It is tough. It's a tough business. It's a hard business, but can be also so very, very satisfying.
Yeah, there isn't anything as rewarding as taking care of others and creating dishes that wow people. I always say there's no finish line. I think people have to understand that this is something that you put your heart into, and it'll take care of you for life. But first, you take care of others, and in the same time, you're it's just a rewarding feeling to take care of others, you know.
That's interesting. Fernand quote, and I can't say the quote in French, but that slips me now. But he had something to the effect of continue striving for excellence with the realization that you can never get there. But at least you are striving, you're driving the vehicle forward, right? And one thing that I thought was so important, and in the lessons that the CIA teaches our young individuals that are in this business, is the why and the how. In the old apprenticeship model, it was more like you keep your mouth shut, you count your pennies, you stay in the corner, you do as you're told. But you have to figure out the why and the how. Why am I doing the task that I'm doing? What purpose does it have? Where does it lead to? And that can only come from working with a group of people that really are interested in developing folks. You know, I was looking at, we are going to Vienna in December for a little work development project, but I didn't know if you knew that, but hotels in Vienna are still like the Zaha Hotel, one of the world's 50 best. They have a large apprenticeship model. There's some 45 apprentices working at that hotel. In those hotels also, the chef can only be of a certain standard to allow them to teach young adults. So there is still that model there, right? And that's what I like about what's happening today. I just came back from Hawaii. I worked with the Culinary Institute of the Pacific there for 2 weeks. Did a workforce development program with that team, and it's just amazing. I mean, once you get into the kitchen and work with like-minded individuals that have the same love and passion for food and want to bring that to people, but at the same time, you learn, you share. That's why I call these things always learning journeys, because I walk away from that also learning from these events, you know. So it's really important. Yeah, I think development in my role now as an expert catalyst, right? People look at me for guidance and inspiration, and I provide that in a culture of innovation and fostering innovation. Right.
And you received the Crystal Chef Award. What year was that? Could you share that?
Well, so I have these two little, which is really cool, right? And it's kind of interesting where you put professionals together. See, the CMC test is one thing. I received the first one in 1991 as an ambassador for the college. And that was very nice. So I have that one. Then for the MasterChef test, you get another one. So which is really interesting. It's given to the individual in the class that has the highest score in the class. And you think there is no competition among chefs? Well, there is, right? There is this little nugget of competition, but I had a great group of colleagues in my group where we started with 12 and we finished with 5 to be certified, which is a high percentage, right? And again, the CMC test is not about anything else than you trying to make sure that you can actually execute all the competencies. You're judged by your peers, and they felt that you have passed that competencies. And so you do formative and summative evaluations and that sort of thing, but you're tested in all aspects of cooking. But that means still is when individuals ask me, well, what does it mean today? Well, you know, you're still grinding today. Every day, I mean, you're working on you're only as good as the next dish that you make, right?
Yeah.
And so it is really a continuous work. How do I improve myself continuously? And you asked me the other day why you did some book writing, and for me, what is really important as a chef, you know, is what is then some of the pieces you leave behind ultimately, right? what is for that next generation. So if I have an individual that goes to the library and finds Cuisine Actuelle or finds In Good Taste or finds Modern Batch Cookery and digs into it, they can see, all right, this is an individual, and hopefully they take away some of the pieces, some of the nuggets that potentially I wasn't shown in my time, right? So, well, that I think is important for any chef. What is it that you can do? How do you establish that culture of fostering innovation? How do you collaborate with authenticity? How do you communicate clearly, so that and powerfully, so that individuals that work with you get the most out of that experience, right? And understanding all along that this is a tough road to hoe. In the days, I can recall working. The restaurant hours are brutal. You go in at 9 o'clock in the morning, you come home at 2 o'clock in the morning, and it's hard on family. It's hard on everybody around you. So, what is the support pillars that you have, right? And the chef has to understand that he or she set the tone of the team's ability to adapt and to change. You are that catalyst. So, and unfortunately, when you learn these lessons along the way, you don't get them when you're 10, 15 years old, right? And but I'm very fortunate and glad to be still involved. And to this day, I have connections with my past president of the college, whether that is Ferdinand Metz or Tim Ryan or Mark Erickson. We're still connected, and that goes back 50 plus years, right? So I mentioned that trip to Vienna as an example. So in 1971, I worked in St. Moritz in Switzerland. And so I'm going to Vienna to see my chef that I worked for in 1971. So he's
Wow.
in his mid 80s, of course. And so I've remained in touch with colleagues that I work with. And so now I'm going to see this gentleman that I worked for and have a conversation with him. I said, and because I was a knucklehead, right? You're a young kid, you want to be successful, you're in a great place. In some way, it's in Gaubunden, which was the play town for Günther Sachs, Brigitte Bardot, all these celebrities that at the time, right? And you worked as a young culinarian, thinking that you knew it all, right? And you had the chef that kept you in line and kept you focused and all that. And that is sort of the things that, that's hopefully my career now in I want to say the ending phase, but, we're getting up there. So that I hope to give back to our industry and to those individuals that I'm connected with still today. So that's really important to me.
I think that's very important for your career, is to stay in touch with who you've worked for. I worked for Erler at the Delta Valley Inn in Calgary, and he was very, very passionate, very intense guy, and very intense. And wow, yeah, I went to Vancouver, cooked during the World Expo, and it's a small world. And I think things have changed a little bit since COVID. I think the gentle pressure that we, always were used to, maybe a little more gentle now,
Yeah, I think, that we have to provide, what other ways can we provide opportunity to attract folks into the craft and then set them up for success? And there's so many success stories at the CIA that for that young individual that you mentioned, Duane, that came to the school and has found a career, right? And there are many examples like that. But some of them are overwhelmed, right? They say, how do I begin and how do I know? Some of them might work for a company. We have this program. It's a pro-chef certification program where we take them to a series of classes and courses which are done online, and then set the individual up for ProChef 1 certification, ProChef 2 certification, ProChef 3 certification. So there are different ways in achieving culinary success and leadership success. Our 4-year degree program at CIA is phenomenal, but potentially it's not for everybody in terms of whether they can afford that, because it's also not inexpensive, right?
Right.
So what other opportunities are there? And I think there are companies out there today realizing, how do I invest in my team, identify who those team members are, and how do I then invest in them and help them grow, right? And for us, it is about mentoring and coaching. How do I inspire my team to deliver the results that the organization is looking for? So, but it has to be authentic. And the one thing I will tell you, if you talk to anybody that worked with me, I'm very direct. You did a good job. I'm going to tell you did a lousy job. I'm going to tell you that too. And then I think to myself, well, how do you bring those folks to get them on the track, right? When I was working in Africa in the 70s for Western International Hotels, the corporate food and beverage, the corporate chef came to visit, and they mentioned to me, would you like to go to the US? And I'm like, I would love to, right? So they transferred me into the States. So if you can reflect back as an individual and as a chef and say, wait a minute, here's somebody that takes an interest in me, what I've delivered, which is potentially not much. I'm still a young kid, but they bring you over here, and coming to the US for me it's amazing. The best thing I ever did in my career. And then connecting with an organization like the CIA that has so many wonderful professionals working there, all with one purpose. The mission is always, it's about the mission. Focused on the mission and how do we execute the mission. And sometimes it's not that you don't have mistakes along the way. You make mistakes, right? Everybody does, but it's all about how do we make a difference and make our craft better, make our industry better, more professional, and make a difference. And if I look at what the Culinary Institute has done to date, it's quite impressive. It's amazing what they have done for our industry. So I recommend this to anybody that's interested in going into this business. The other thing is, can you? Not everybody is able to travel, and fortunately, I'm blessed to be able to be in the road that much. And I travel a lot of my food experiences on LinkedIn and put them out there for people to see. But that is an opportunity too for individuals to grow. So is there an opportunity to do a stagiaire overseas, right? In a house that potentially you might not speak the language properly, but you can learn, and you take away so much. And I think that is we are still in a country that we want that instant gratification. And if you can have a group of 10 individuals that are working for you, and you can pick one of them that really you can put your claws in to help develop and all that, then you have done your job, because there's so much opportunity out there. But I think it's still one by one by one by one. And I go back to earlier point I made about the certification track, right, for the CMC. It is that roadmap, for young chefs after an apprenticeship to be then, after your apprenticeship, now you are a commie, first-year commie. But as a first-year commie, I went to work in a house in Germany. And as the first-year commie, you really are not that good, because you have 3-year apprenticeship people there. They run circles around you. But it is all about how do you refine your craft, and where do you find your niche? Is it in the garde manger area? Is it on the saucier? Is it on the entrepreneur or the poissonnier, which is almost a diluted craft, right? You don't really see anymore the poissonniers out there and all that. Mm-hmm. So you have to really search for those places. But that is you have to allow yourself in a career track to establish developing your skill, honing your skill, developing your craft, asking the questions, continuously asking the questions, and then document, right? In my apprenticeship, my chef would work in the afternoon to develop the sauces and develop the force meats and that sort of thing. So unless I force myself to stay there to observe what he or she was doing, I wouldn't get that knowledge. So it does take commitment on both sides, right? It's the commitment on both sides. So a lot of trust involved in there and all that. But in my discussions now with team members, I say, it's okay if you what made you jump this business, right? What made you go and be an IT guy rather than sticking with the business? And what I get most is, well, it's the hours and all that kind of thing. But I think the underlying core might be he or she might not be ready for this. I'm always in awe when I travel back to Europe, Duane, when I go into these places, Pierre Rossi, or you go to some of these restaurants, whether it's in the south of France or Lyon, you see these chefs that have been doing this, they're my age, they're in the 70s. And they're still in their kitchens and they're working on the line with their teams. And to me, that is really that essence of our craft, right? They if they could write a story, or if I could be a fly in the wall in some of those services, it'd be phenomenal. But we need to learn to provide an organization that really can give manageable scopes of responsibility to people. Sometimes we overload them, but give a manageable scope of work that they can handle, right? And that's how they grow. And I know it's tough, and COVID has done a lot of damage that way, I think, to our craft. But it's coming back. I also think there was a lot of innovations after that. So it's good stuff. It's all good stuff. I'm all positive.
I see the brigade system coming back to clubs and the club environment where there's a little more resources. I mean, I always thought hotels were great because you had the room revenue, right? We did, Gaylord, we did 110 million a year in food and beverage at 6 restaurants. But you work from 5 a.m. till 10 o'clock at night or 11 o'clock at night. 6-7 days a week. Hotels are grueling, and I wonder if the brigade system is, as I started in this business in the 70s. I'm been 50 years now, and I just think we are asking people too much, and the gentle pressure that we had is too much for today's youth. I don't know if TV even helped us, but there's so many things that we need to iron out moving forward. But I see a lot of positive in hospitality coming back and getting through those 4 years. Being a chef during COVID is not an easy time.
Yeah, it was really rough. It's funny. I mentioned a story that I tell people that, and sometimes the tasks that we are assigned to, like I tell the folks in my apprenticeship, the first year I peeled garlic, onions, potatoes, carrots, chopped parsley, separated chervil and tarragon, and so forth. And during the lunch hour, I would go back up. After the lunch was done, I would rush across the areas where the stations were, the entremetier, the poissonnier, the rôtisseur, and take away the parsley and all that. And because those individuals had forgotten what it took to get that parsley done, right? And I wanted to save it. So there's a discipline there. When you sit in doing these tasks, the question for an individual to ask is, don't grumble, but think about the applications for garlic, for parsley, for chervil, for tarragon. So while I was in that space of, my God, am I ever going to get out of this basement doing this stuff? I kept my mind occupied with what is the application for this product, or how many peeled carrots can I place in a 200 pan, right? And be efficient that way. Why am I cutting an onion like this? How could I cut the onion in a nice dice using the entire onion, only having the peel left for the stock and all? So it's that sort of thinking, making sure they don't come in a place where they become grumblers. You need to rescue the grumblers. They need to understand the small tasks that deliver success. Like, they don't understand that I said, well, my first year apprenticeship, I never got to the stove. No way. Where I just watched that was not your chore. During lunch, you would come up and assist the demi chefs with what they needed, right? So I always say the mise en place, doing right, the mise en place. The cooking is the reward for doing the mise en place right? So that is, and sometimes there's a level of impatience today, right? And how do you bring that back? Because the club still opens, your restaurant still goes, your club members still want the food. The folks that play golf want to have a burger. They want it quick, efficient, fast, and tasty, and beautiful, and all that. The fries need to be crispy. So then how do you balance that? So it's a huge opportunity for us as chefs and leaders to make an impact so that the craft survives even after things like a downturn or a COVID, or because there will be other things like that.
Yeah.
How do you rescue that, right? You have to continue that culture of fostering innovation and really inspire your team. And I always say, chef provides the spark and the team makes it fire. There's nothing better when you have a service go well. You have done service, I've done service, serve 150 people out of the line, and man, it's going like clockwork, right? And then you do 90 and it's like a nightmare getting the food out, right? So you never know, but it is that, how do you keep it going, right?
Yeah, the team is to have synergy. That's what I love about it, putting the people in the right places and giving them all the tools to be successful. We are creating everything with our hands, and the team together, as every position is so important on the team. I noticed you're result driven, and I always say that about myself, because we work as a team to produce many different things, happy members, great financials, so that we can reinvest into what we're doing. COVID for me was so difficult because, one, I couldn't be around my team. I opened a new concept in Washington, D.C., where I went into work just to produce, R&D, produce dishes, and then the next day I'd go in and throw them all away. And it was only me down in Washington, D.C., at the IMF. Tough time. And coming out of that was really awesome to be back with people and working together again. But the price of food, the beef market is still, outrageous. The products that I was used to using in the DC Metro for 2 decades, like, day boat scallops, or, I'd use fresh jumbo lump off the Chesapeake Bay. These products aren't even, they're not only tough to get, they're almost priced so high you can't even use them, because you can't pass that on. I'm known for value and under promise, over deliver. It's all comes down to what you're providing your guest. And the most important thing for me is to do all the right things right, so that we can reinvest in what we're doing with our products and our people so that we can keep wowing people, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, you brought up in your conversation that for me, it's important to have what's the vision of the operation, then a mission that supports that vision, and then there has to be some strategies, right? And so, what tools are you providing your team to execute? So, in the Garde, for example, if you have a charcuterie program, what tools, what resources do you give your team to execute on a good charcuterie program? And that's often overlooked, right? Don't set the expectation high, but give your team the tools to execute. And if you give them tools, don't drop off. I have seen it in the hotels and the restaurants where they come in with this beautiful equipment and they just dump there and then go ahead, chefs, use it, right? But they don't really know how to use it properly. How can I make myself more efficient by utilizing the technology that I've been given, right? And today there's so much great equipment out there that it's just phenomenal. But at the same time, that is the resources have to be available. And I'm reminded by a message I received from my general manager, where I would go in the hotel business and say, I really need to know buffalo chopper. I need a couple of new ovens and all that. And the one thing this general manager said to me, Vic, you need to make the case for it. It doesn't just mean you come in my office and tell me we need it. Give me the business case for it. And I think that is the learning lessons along the way, right? And I think today, particularly in clubs, I think you all have done a great job in because it's a demanding audience, but you all have done a great job in catering to that audience, and you provide a great resource for somebody that's interested in joining this craft. If I look at the hotel business at the time, the hotels have changed a little bit their model. There's still hotel groups out there that do this. Westin at the time, when I was with them, they were 65 properties, highly food and beverage oriented, but that is also costly, right? That costs a lot of money. But that is what the clients were looking for. And at the time, if you looked at your teams in the kitchens, you could say, well, Vic is really good at the garde, so maybe an opportunity in the banquet kitchens is better suited to them than the 3-meal restaurant. So you could move your people around where their best skill sets were. And I think the clubs today offer that opportunity, I think, in a different way, but they offer that opportunity. And then again, it goes back to who's leading that team, who are the folks under that leader that is leading the team. And it's all about people, right? In the end, people make the difference. Yeah.
Yeah, we're looking at a honey program at our club, a farm, herbs. What else? I mean,
Awesome.
we have a lot of plans, and doing the right things right, it gives us money to work with,
Yeah. And that's a good point. It's also how do you, in 1979, the Westin Oaks in Houston, we opened the Zucchini Farm to Market Cafe, which was a restaurant, but the kitchen was in the dining room, which is at the time was mind-blowing, unusual. And we had a little hydroponics for a little hydroponics farm, if you will, for herbs, or little lettuces and all that. But at the time, that didn't fly. It was in Houston, Texas, and people said, what the heck is this guy doing with hydroponics out here? But that was innovation ahead of its time. So that not necessarily makes sense then, right? So it's all about planning that and all that. But net, this whole conversation, it all comes down to the people and finding what works and what doesn't. And in this, and that's why I say, if you are able to make an impact of 1 in 10, you're great, right? Can you do it more? Fantastic. That's really important. Yeah.
Yeah, it's exciting being a chef. It's a long journey, and you just got to stick to your, you know, doing the right things right and working together and teeing everybody up for success. It takes, you know, as a leader, a lot of planning and a lot of, you know, resources to help people move along. Mostly patience, you know, you got to have good patience these
Yeah.
days, you know.
Yeah, patience is a virtue, but patience, and that's also for those who know. I know I'm known as Victor 5.0. I used to be Victor 1.0, right? So, but my boss always said, "My God, man, you're in the 5.0 mode today." But that comes with experience, that comes with confidence, that comes with time, and I hope I can give that the folks I interact with now to give as much of that back, you know, and that's really important. So help them grow. So that's really good. Mentor and coach and inspire your team.
Yeah, I had a GM tell me I was soft. And I look at it this way. Here are the points that we want to achieve.
Yeah,
Happy members, happy staff, great costs, clean kitchen,
yeah,
timeliness, and you know, I can still move. I can really still move. I'm only halfway there.
yeah.
And I, you know, it's the end of the, you know, like you said, we're as good as the last dish we put out.
Right. It's also though at that same, if those are the markers for us, right? That's great. But if then you have a GM or managing director or president that backs you up, man, I tell you got it made. And I've been very fortunate. I've worked for some great individuals and that back you up, that provide you with the resources so you can execute on the message, on execute on the task. And I'm a very process driven guy. Process very important, and that's the reality of our business. You need good processes. That doesn't mean they are stagnant. They need to evolve over time. But the reality is in your business too, and then you got to deliver on the for results. And to me, people fuel results. You know, if you have a happy kitchen, that makes a difference, man. I tell you, you put out food like crazy. It's amazing what can happen, right? Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Happy cooks
yeah,
cook happy food.
yeah. I say happy people, happy cooking.
Yes. Yes, sir. Well, we really enjoyed having you on and appreciate your time, Chef. We'll keep following you on LinkedIn and thank you for all you do. Thank the CIA for all they do and happy trails.
Yeah, Chef Keller, thank you, man. It's been a real honor and pleasure to be on your show. Yes, let's stay connected. You know, it's wonderful. We have similarities in our career track. Really enjoy that, and we'll stay connected. I appreciate being on, and we keep fighting the good fight.
Yes,
You
sir.
too. All right, man. Thanks.
Cheers.
Thanks a bunch. Cheers.
Thank you for being part of the Keller Chronicles, Cook with Your Heart. Join us in the Hospitality Nexus to keep the conversation going. And until next time, remember, every meal is a chance to share love, and every day is a chance to make a difference.